Maybe talk to people a little bit about how this bacteria in our guts work, the good versus bad, and what it means to be aerobic versus anaerobic, and why the colonocytes prefer a particular environment over another.
Right. So if your colon cell is taking in butyrate from the commensal or good bacteria, and it is taking the oxygen from the inside of the intestine. So think about the inside of the intestine. This is a very low oxygen state. The inside of the intestine where the stool is very low oxygen. All of it's being extracted into the cell to be used in oxidative phosphorylation to make energy for the cell. And so the cell can take all of those substrate options with oxygen and make a lot of energy that can be used to do all the things it needs to do to balance water, to manage the immune system, all the things that cell needs to do. So because it uses oxygen to make that energy, now that intracell, that inside the lumen or the inside of the colon where the stool is a very hypoxic or low oxygen environment because it's being sucked out to be made into, to be made into energy for the cell. Mm-hmm. So let's say you go and you take antibiotics. Now you kill off those bacteria that prefer to be in a very low oxygen environment, these anaerobes that prefer to be in a very low oxygen environment. And you allow the overgrowth of the tiny few facultative anaerobes. These guys can handle being in a low oxygen environment. They don't really like it, but they can do it. Or aerobes that really prefer to be in an oxygen environment. So now these bugs that begin to overgrow because of the absence of the anaerobes, now they begin to steal the oxygen from the colon cells. So now the colon cell is stuck. We've changed the cellular milieu. So now the colon cell is stuck without enough oxygen, and it has to begin to do anaerobic metabolism. So like I mentioned before, it takes that glucose and now begins to make oxygen in a very inefficient but quick way, because it's the only way it can in the absence of oxygen. The cell begins to transcribe new enzymes from its DNA. It begins to now not be able to do the very efficient, very high energy producing mechanism because there's not enough oxygen for it to do that process. So it begins to switch how it functions. The cell itself begins to switch how it functions. And it's all because of the presence of these facultative anaerobes who don't really care for the low oxygen environment, or aerobes who like the oxygen environment, and now they're using all the oxygen and not allowing the colonocytes to have the oxygen go to them, and maintaining that low oxygen environment of the stool itself or the lumen of the colon.